When Blaine asked Zoey to kiss him goodbye, she immediately blushed in embarrassment. They were standing in the middle of a busy airport terminal. She didn't dare. Did she? She could feel Blaine's hand tightening on her waist as he stared at her with his expectant eyes. It's time for you to board the plane," Zoey reminded him. She was so nervous she was stuttering. Blaine ignored her. Instead, he patiently waited for Zoey to kiss him. She had never seen Blaine display this much patience before. She could clearly hear the rapid and rhythmic sound of his heart pounding against her own. Zoey closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Then she rose on her tiptoes and moved her face towards Blaine. Then she kissed him with a kiss as soft and light as a butterfly's. It had been a very, very long time since Zoey had been the one to kiss him. A dazzling smile appeared on Blaine's usually indifferent face. He teasingly curled the corner of his lips and scolded her. Stingy. Zoey's face had already turned completely red. She reached out to push him away, but Blaine didn't give her the chance. He held her tightly in his arms and whispered, "Stay another moment. I'm about to board the plane." When Zoey heard this, she obediently let him hug her, no longer trying to pull away. Feeling the warmth of Blaine's arms, Zoey suddenly felt sentimental. She couldn't deny that she was going to miss him and that the thought of not seeing him for so many days made her sad. Without even making a conscious decision, Zoey hugged Blaine back tightly. She heard him say in her ear, "Take good care of yourself while I'm gone. Use my card if you need to. There's no limit, so take whatever you need." Listening to him, Zoey was visibly moved. She quietly withdrew from Blaine's arms and shook her head. "I'm fine, but thank you, I will." Zoey was telling the truth. Of course, when it came to Max's medical expenses, sometimes Zoey really needed money. But at the moment, she was okay. She had used Blaine's card, but had carefully recorded the amount so she could pay him back someday. Blaine was happy to hear Zoey say this. Good girl. He reached out his hand and, with his thumb, gently stroked Zoey's cheek. I should go. All the passengers were on the plane and it was time for him to board. Yes. Zoey nodded, feeling disappointed their time together had been so fleeting. Her chest felt stuffy and she suddenly felt unwell. Zoey took a deep breath as she watched his tall figure disappear through the plane's entrance. Her nose burned and she felt her eyes grow wet. She really couldn't bear to part with him. Zoey didn't leave the airport until she saw Blaine's plane pull out and taxi away. As she walked out of the terminal, she realized the weather was now warmer. But Zoey felt herself shiver, as if her whole body had turned colder once Blaine left. She didn't hear from Blaine for the rest of the day. Not even a quick message telling her he had arrived. Zoey had tried to call him, but his phone went straight to voicemail. He probably didn't have service, which would be normal in a disaster zone. After spending the evening with Max, Zoey left the hospital and went home. As soon as she entered the house, she turned on the TV and switched to a cable news channel. They were still reporting around the clock about the tragedy in Mexico. Zoey involuntarily shuddered as she listened. At 2 o'clock this afternoon, an aftershock with a magnitude of 4.9 occurred in Mexico City. This is the fifth aftershock of magnitude 4 or more since the original quake. The number of missing people increased by 121. Volunteer rescue workers and medical personnel are pouring into the city, doing their utmost to rescue and treat the injured. Zoey felt a little dizzy while watching the reports. Each image shown seemed more disturbing than the last. All the news was gloomy, and other than making her mood worse, watching the news coverage wasn't helping her feel any better. Annoyed, she stood up and turned off the television. She went to her bedroom and then took a shower. She stood under the hot spray for a long time, allowing the warm water to wash over her. Zoey hoped that the water would also wash away the heaviness in her heart, but she couldn't shake her worries no matter how hard she tried. Hoping some sleep would make her feel better, Zoey crawled into bed. But even though she'd barely slept the night before, Zoey found herself tossing and turning, unable to fall asleep. She checked her phone, but there were no new messages or texts. Fearing she might miss a call if she fell asleep, Zoey tucked the phone under her pillow and dejectedly closed her eyes to try to get some sleep. Zoey's mind, however, couldn't rest. It was too filled with thoughts of Blaine. What was he doing? Had he safely arrived in Mexico City? Had they gone straight to work, or was he able to rest first? Did he have a safe place to sleep? Did they have enough food and warm clothing? The questions just kept coming and wouldn't stop. Zoey sat up in frustration and rubbed her head with her hands. "I'm going crazy," she said out loud before flopping back onto the bed and covering her head with the blanket, as if that might block out her anxious thoughts. In her frazzled state, it took Zoey a long moment to realize the sound she suddenly heard was her cell phone ringing. Was she dreaming? No, it was definitely ringing.
Hi, Zoey here. If you are wondering what happens next, then download the Pocket FM app and listen to the exciting episodes of Rekindled Heartache now.